Aloha mai kako. Makani Tengan here. How are you, world? Hope all is going well. Hanging out with a little one right now. 1212 Quantum Wizardry. We are rounding out this 3-week, 21-day immersive experience. Today, talking all about embodiment. So, up until now, we've talked about, at least this week, in terms of how we can best integrate all of this information. Yesterday, we talked about breath work and how that can help us in terms of dropping into a more homeostatic state, that flow state, if you will, that allows us to be in the best possible condition to focus on manifesting. Now, last week we talked about the different types of intuitive talents. Today we're going to talk about specifically how each of these can best focus on manifesting, because as we talked about last week, the kinesthetic, the psychic, the empathic, and the energetic all have different avenues of intuitive abilities, and we can utilize these superpowers to then be able to focus our attention on how to manifest. And using the Hermetic principles, then what does that look like for each and every one of these types? So let's start off with today, and we'll take this, today, tomorrow, the next day, and then Saturday in terms of what each of these look like for manifesting. So today, let's focus a little bit on the path of the empath. And so the path of the empath, hold on one moment. Waku, Daddy's on the video right now, so hold on for a bit, okay? Thanks. For the path of the empath, it's all about the energy of emotion. Now, that energy, right, the E, creating motion in terms of being able to directly influence what's happening by creating a new emotional experience. So empaths are really good at this by staying in the same state as in the vision, right? On that first day, way back when, day one, we talked about having a vision. And having that vision, right, closing our eyes and seeing and hearing and smelling and experiencing, and then dropping into what the feelings are. Now, the feelings that we have and that we held in that vision are things that we want to uphold, essentially, and really focus on maintaining as best we can. Now, the thing about that is all too often there is that thing of just being positive, and that's a big part of it. That's a big part in terms of the oscillation rate. However, when we sort of skim over experiences that are challenging, that are, oh, thank you very much, that really do have value, what ends up happening is that can bite us in the butte later, because these lower vibrational energies also have a function and also create value. These are the things that we're dealing with in terms of our karmic attachment. And as we talked about way back when in week one, the true path of the empath includes emotion. However, emotion is merely a snapshot of experience, and that snapshot of experience can be, though often is not, specific to this lifetime and this lifespan, which means that when we're dealing with an emotion, this is something that we have trapped in our body. So when we deal with specifically negative emotions, quote unquote, negative emotions, often what it ties to are karmic attachments. And if we are skimming over it, then what ends up happening is we carry that into the next life cycle. Right now is really important because we have the capacity to free ourselves from a lot of the stuff that have held us in this life and others stuck. So when we talk about then the path of the empath and really tapping into that empathic intuitive talent, what we want to be able to do is, as much as we can, maintain that state of true positivity. And when things happen, when we encounter things that are hard or that are heavy, to create the space, a container, the opportunity for us to go through that as well. Now, what that feels like often is then creating, because we are talking about experience and how experience can tie to emotion, things that are consistent with that vision, right? I was using the fact of, being told that I was infertile and having this vision for myself of having children with Alicia and us being in a very specific, that perfect moment. And in that perfect moment, the love, the adoration, the excitement, all of those emotions that I felt in that vision are things that I worked into my life every day. And when I experienced those emotions, when I focused upon recreating that vision and then just allowing those feelings to flow, what ended up happening is essentially I began to collapse realities. Basically meaning that when we envision something, the emotions that we go through are just as real to our body as the quote unquote real experiences that we go through. And so when we focus upon that, not just the vision, the emotions of the vision, and maintaining those emotions consistent as much as we are able in our everyday life, then all of a sudden things begin to change, because all of a sudden we're collapsing a new reality into form, and as it comes into form, we are bringing it in. Often our emotions they have a magnetic pull, right? We talk about EMFs, or electromagnetic frequencies. We, with our mind and our emotions, create a vibration and a frequency in and of ourselves. And so when we're operating in a very specific way, holding a vision and then focusing on maintaining those energies, or rather emotions, all of a sudden things begin to shift. We are then bringing into our life the very thing that we have envisioned when we embody as an empath, right? The path of the empath, or tapping into our empathic abilities, the emotions that are consistent with the vision that we hold. And so as we do that, going back a step yesterday, there's a lot of things that can help set us up for success, right? This week is all about how do we set that up as we establish a practice with our process. So looking at being able to create that daily or morning ritual is key. It's a big part of it. Secondly, being able to press pause, going through breath work, allowing ourselves to drop into that optimized state, and then being able to focus, right, with our empathic, intuitive talents, then upon those key emotions that are consistent with that vision. Okay, that's it for now. We're going to go each and every day this week, going through the kinesthetic, psychic, and energetics as well. And then we'll be rounding things out on Sunday by going over the best way forward in terms of this whole concept of quantum wizardry and manifesting our magic and the reality of our dreams. That's it for now. Love and aloha to you all. Take care of each other, and ahui ho.